So as we look around the trending 20 this week, we see a lot of items coming from around the multiverse, probably due to the Flash and Kang. Huh? That's right, the multiverse is so hot right now. Buy, buy, buy! I'm serious, guys. If you're not investing in your standard multiverse comic books right now, you are missing out. You're going to lose money. It's a money loser. Oh, right. The multiverse is taking over again. I hate it when this happens. The multiverse invades my channel just like it does every stupid nerd culture thing out there.
Well, in the multiverse, anything is possible, so that's already happened somewhere.
Yeah, we get it, okay? Well, you see, in this one, Kang is a cowboy. Yeehaw. Hi, I'm Christopher, aka the Bronze Age Nerd, and I'm not even trying this time. I'm just making fun of all that multiverse junk. Look, multiverse stories can be cool, but I don't know about you guys. I'm a little tired of them by now. I didn't really actually pick a ton of multiverse books this week, but the list is littered with them. So a lot of this comes down this week to Ant-Man 3, Kang related spec. It's up to you whether or not you choose to believe in that, but who knows, Kang could be the next villain for a generation. It's possible, I guess. Anyway, this is the top 5 not to buy series, where I take a look at all those trending lists, and I pick out the 5 worst investments in my opinion. Couple disclaimers I haven't made in a while, I want to make sure I reiterate. I'm never saying you should or shouldn't buy anything. I'm just saying these are my picks for the 5 worst comic books on those lists. I welcome differing opinions, and I hope that you guys invest in comic books that you think are worth it, and more importantly, you collect comic books that you love, regardless of what anybody says online. And second, when I'm referring to the logic behind not to buy, what I'm saying is the price it's going for right now after it's already hit the list. So for example, like a list like Key Collector, they provide low, mid, and high. CBSI usually discusses value in their particular listings, and also COVRPRICE is obviously connected to a pricing guide, so you can get pricing data from them. I'm saying don't buy at the prices that are current when those lists went up. So what I'm saying is I don't recommend buying at those current prices. If you happen to find any of these books in a dollar bin or significantly less than that price and you want to do a quick flip, well, obviously that's easy money. If you want to do that, go for it. All right, moving on to the actual list, let's start with Flashpoint number 1 at the number 5 spot. Flashpoint number 1's a really cool book, and it's a good first appearance for Thomas Wayne, but let's be honest, what it's really being hyped up for is the Flash movie coming out, and that has been going on for a while. People that wanted to invest in this book have had plenty of chances to buy it already, and there's going to be a small pool, in my opinion, of last-minute FOMO buyers for this book. I think investing in this book for Flashpoint-related spec is kind of done. However, I do think that Thomas Wayne has some potential. I think that's a character that has maybe mostly run his course, but it's a character that a lot of people like and enjoy, and if that's you, try to secure a good price on this book at some point, although I just don't see this book exponentially growing over what it's at now. I think it's kind of near its peak, probably. Let's see if I'm right in my 6 month later follow-up. At number 4 in the list, we're going to talk about The Marvels number 1, which is a gorgeous Alex Ross cover. It basically hit the list because of the Alex Ross signing event that's coming up, and yeah, I'm sure a lot of copies of this are going to be submitted for the Alex Ross signing. Let's think about that logic real quick for investment purposes. If you were to look at this on the list and say, I should invest in this book, why? If you have it, you're sending it off to the Alex Ross signing event, or you don't want to do that. And a lot of people already are going to do that, so there's going to be a lot of copies of this signed by Alex Ross floating around. I'm sure the first few that hit the market will do well, but you can't really control when you're going to get yours back from CGC without paying extra money, which negates any of your profits. I don't understand the investment here. There's no investment opportunity that I can see. If you have a nice high-grade copy of the Marvels, maybe it's a cool time to send it in if that's what you want to do. I want to disclose that on the list, they even kind of say that this is a stand-in for all of the covers from the Marvels, because there's some fantastic covers in that series. Not necessarily the first one being the best one, depending on your perspective. I really like the Angel one. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff there. If you want to submit it for your personal collection, that's great. If you want to invest in it, I think I would pump the brakes. Which leads us directly into our number 3 pick, which is Avengers number 2 from 2017. This is another Alex Ross cover, and it's a Kang cover. This is a cover that people really enjoy. It's had a lot of kind of hot cover spec. That's pretty much what this book is, though. And it's also appeared on hot lists for a long time, so I feel like people have been snatching it up at a good price for a while now. Maybe you still could find it for a good price, but if you're not going to find it for significantly less than what it's going for, I don't see this book having a lot of extra potential. There's actually a lot of really cool Kang cover appearances, many of which take place long before this and are a little bit more sought after, I would say, just because of the rarity or the age. So for me, I would go for those. At number 2 on the list, we have Thor 31. This is the 1 in 25 Dodderman variant, which is kind of that every version of Thor that Dodderman does. He does that every version of a character. I think those covers are really cool, but since this one's a ratio, and it's going to basically be sought after by mega Thor fans, and it's going to be basically be sought after by people that collect these particular Dodderman variants, I don't think it's going to have a lot of life to it. This was a pick from Gotham City Comics. I don't really understand the logic here for why this would be like a pick of the week. To me, it's just kind of a cool cover and good for completionists of variants like that. Other than that, I don't really see it. I think the Rogue cover was the last real cool ratio one they did of these that fetched a lot of value, and that was mostly because I think it was if it wasn't the first one, it was one of the first ones. So I think that has a lot to do with it, and I don't see this one hitting the same heights. And speaking of not seeing it, let's talk about the Superman #1 foil, 1 per store, which is a lunar kind of thank you variant for retailers. Now, I know there's 2 cameo appearances in this book. Key Collector specifically lists them as cameos, so you know the first full is going to be a much bigger deal for the characters if those characters matter at all. Other than that, it's a 1 per store variant. There's more 1 per store variants, more comic book stores out there than you might think. What I don't know is exactly the number that they're going to do. Like, I'm imagining it's any comic book store that has an account with Lunar. I imagine that's most comic book stores, because if you want to carry DC, that's the way to do it. So I'm going to guess around 4,000 to 4,500 or so copies printed. I don't know the exact number. If you know a little bit more about how many copies are going to be printed for a book like that, I'd love to hear about it. But let's say it's about as many comic book stores are out there, so it should be around that number. That's not super limited for an exclusive. Think about, all the Virgin and trade dresses that have 1,000 Virgins and 3,000 trade dresses. Those 3,000 trade dress comics aren't usually thought of as rare. So if you have something that has a higher print run than that, is it really rare? It's weird because by the same token, a comic book that has a print run of 10,000 is considered somewhat rare when it comes to an open order comic book, but this is a thank you variant, so every store has a shot at 1 copy of it. It's weird. It kind of levels the playing field, in my opinion. There's a couple examples of a 1 per store that have done pretty well, but there are tons and tons and tons of examples of 1 per store that haven't done anything. It's just one of those things that I don't think it's going to contain much more stealing, and it's not really going to be a big deal other than this week. That'd be my guess. And then, of course, when the inevitable graded copies start hitting in a few weeks. No, really, what do you think about the multiverse? I'm curious to hear in the comments down below. Are you fatigued by the multiverse? Are you excited? My real answer here is that I feel like they're just not doing it enough justice. It's become a gimmick instead of being used in a way that is fun. And really, what I want to see things like the MCU or even the DCU use multiverse for is for bringing in great story opportunities, for bringing in, hey, we wanted to see this character from this film interact with this character, but they're in slightly different versions, so they can't cross over. Well, here's your excuse to do that. Here's your excuse to bring in the animated X-Men and just have them show up played by completely different actors and have them fight the Fox X-Men, or have them cross over with the Avengers, or whatever you want to do. And that's just one example, of course. So you could take every combination of every team out there. You could do the Injustice storyline where you bring in the good Superman, Henry Cavill or whatever, to fight the evil Superman that's gone bad because of the death of Lois and his unborn child or whatever, right? Those are the kind of story opportunities the multiverse presents, and hopefully we start to see some better produced stories. Speaking of better production, one thing that helps my channel have better production is the help of all my channel members. Their names appear on a list right now on screen, and I want to take a second to thank them because they really do help out on the channel. And if you want to consider becoming a channel member, there is a join button down below, and go ahead and check that out. You get some cool perks that it explains down there as well. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, I want to remind you, as always, hey, 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 hey. Read comics every day.